I'm going to give you the full caffeine / coffee guide. There's going to be all the advice, at least that I know at the moment, and I've done some research of how to best consume caffeine and coffee. Obviously the most prominent way of drinking caffeine or consuming caffeine is coffee. That's why I'm putting it as like the title to this video. But this goes for all forms of caffeine, but I'll be referring to coffee in this video. So, okay, let's go for the most obvious one first. How early before bed do you think you can drink coffee? Or in other words, like how many hours do you think you should leave it before you go to sleep, before you can drink, before you stop drinking coffee or caffeine? Most people think it's 1 or 2, which is very underestimating. They did a study, and people that drank coffee 1 and 3 hours before bed, so it was 1, 3, and 6 hours, and people that drank it 1 hours and 3 hours, 2 separate groups, both drank it before bed and believed that it had an effect, and it did. But the people that drank it 6 hours didn't believe it had an effect, yet it still did. So people really underestimate how long caffeine stays in your body for. And actually the half-life is about 4 hours, about 4.5 hours. So you really shouldn't be drinking caffeine past 8 or 9 hours before bedtime, which I know seems a lot, which it definitely is a lot, but it's just something. Even if you don't feel like your sleep is different, you don't get as deep sleep. Even if you're in the same and can get sleep as quick, the sleep isn't as deep, especially if you're having a lot of caffeine. Maybe 50 milligrams in that time would be okay, but overall you really want to be aiming for 8 hours or 9 hours. 8 hours as just a baseline. Trying to have caffeine after that. Definitely not regularly. If like you're, I don't know, just flew to Italy and in a cafe at 11 o'clock at night, sure. I just special occasions, I guess. But overall, yeah, people aren't really underestimate how long it stays in your body for. So that's the first advice. Just don't have coffee or caffeine 8 hours before you go to sleep. And if you have to, I guess, for some reason, if you really want to keep it to a very minimum amount. The next thing is that decaf still has caffeine in it, which blew my mind because it's called decaffeinated, but no, it actually has 1/4 to 1/2 of the original amount of caffeine that a regular thing would have. So if it's a decaf coffee, that would be 1/4 or 1/2 of the original amount of caffeine that a normal coffee would have, which may not bother you, which may not make a difference, because if you're having one, there's so little caffeine in there. That's like 25 milligrams at max, really, maybe 50 at max, but there's so little in there in one cup that it really won't make a difference to your sleep. But if you're having it before bed and you're having multiple, then it could again make a difference to your sleep. If you're having 4, that's like having 1 or 2 cups of regular coffee, which is, you you already know that's bad for you. So be careful of decaf. It's not bad, it's definitely better than regular caffeine. Just know that some caffeine's still in there. It's not completely free, so if you have enough of decaf, it will still be caffeinated. And then something that's really become popular recently is, because Andrew Huberman spoke about it, you shouldn't have coffee or caffeine again for the first 90 minutes of the day. And the reason for this is when you wake up, there's a certain chemical that's released I forgot it now. There's a certain chemical that's released that makes you feel more awake and alert, and it slowly builds up until about 90 minutes into the day when when you're fully, your body's woken up again, paired with things like sunlight and temperature. There's lots of things you can do to make you feel more alert. Temperature being like cold showers, which actually warms you up, but that's a different video. But my point is that in the first 90 minutes of the day, if you have caffeine, what you're doing is stopping, you're stopping those alert natural chemicals come out and replacing them with caffeine, which kind of stops your overall feeling of awakefulness, I guess, for the rest of the day, because you have that crash in mid-afternoon. So what you really want to be doing is waiting 90 minutes and then having a coffee, because even if you have it in the first 90 minutes, one, you'll get that crash in the afternoon, and two, you will just not feel the effects nearly as much that you would like to. So by waiting that time, you let your body do its natural process, then drink a cup of coffee, and then you have that effects that you want, and you don't get that crash because your body is fully awake already. And then, yeah, did I have something else to say? Well, yeah, I suppose I do. It kind of goes for everything, I guess, but I really think you shouldn't be having caffeine every day. I really think that could really be detrimental to your. It's just an addiction, really, isn't it? Detrimental to your overall kind of performance, and you become reliant on caffeine. It's like addiction to any drug. So what I really think you should be doing, what I normally do is only have caffeine once or twice a week. Now, I think if you have it every other day, every few days, it really just makes a difference, because you can become more aware of the effects of caffeine. It's not like a default. Your body becomes used to it, and then obviously over time it becomes more numb. It becomes more. I forgot what the proper term is now, but it becomes more. The drug becomes less effective because it's been used so many times. So caffeine really shouldn't be drank every day, or consumed every day, I should say, because that really does have some serious, not serious, but some serious addiction and withdrawal kind of problems. If you have it every day and then go a day without, you're like, you're all wide and jittery. You're like, where is it? But yeah, so that's not an official advice, but I think it's really important to not have an addiction to any substance, really, even kind of dopamine, and caffeine obviously goes with that. So you really should try and space out when you consume it. So for like the hard workouts or the important or special occasions. But yeah, that's my whole caffeine and coffee advice guide. There probably is more in-depth stuff. There's kind of the basic, what times and things to drink it, and the kind of effects it will have if you kind of go outside those barriers. So yeah, thank you for watching.